Hello fellow Earthlings, it's me again, Rogan, the mysterious stoner in Ebola, bringing you another episode of my life's unfolding story. So in the last video I talked a bit about what we did starting out the first year or two of our time over on the mission field, travelling all over the country and doing all kinds of gospel related things, sharing the good news of Jesus. And we had finally gotten our own apartment, settled down, we were getting into the groove of things, and we were getting used to a particular way of life in this foreign country. Now, up to this point, back in my home country, for the last several years, my relatives had been steadily moving over to the United States for better education and business opportunities. And the most recent ones, up to this point, had been my two oldest brothers, who had obviously moved out of the house and were on their own. And neither one of them ever had to live with us in the foreign country, because they were both moved out by the time we moved to the foreign country. Lucky bastards. Now, my parents hadn't really decided if we were going to be moving to the United States in the future or not. However, they did decide to send my sister to be enrolled in an American conservative Christian college. But my sister had other plans. You see, my brothers and I had all accepted Christianity, and we didn't really question it. I mean, maybe my brothers had their times later on when they got older, but we were taught to not question. We weren't taught to be skeptical, and my brothers are still Christians, very firm Christians. My sister, however, she is a skeptic, intelligent. She tried to accept Christianity. She tried to go with it, and even when, she eventually realized that she couldn't accept it. She had seen too much from having been around normal kids and seeing what they were exposed to, and she realized that there was more to the world than what we were being fed by our parents. And my sister is also a tomboy. She likes to do shit that guys do. Run around, get dirty, climb trees, all that shit. She loved doing that as a kid, but my parents made that very difficult for her because they believed those were things that ladies shouldn't do. They should spend time with other women, learning to crochet and cook and learn how to take care of children. Oh yes, of course, babysit the younger children and all that as well. And there was no room in my parents' vocabulary or world for tomboyish girls, or for girls wearing pants. My sister had to wear ankle-length skirts or dresses. She wasn't even allowed to wear lipstick or makeup or jewellery, and she was expected to stay at home, not get a normal job, and only leave home when my parents approved of another guy, another Christian guy, to marry her. And she was very much so not cool with going back into this type of lifestyle. She knew there was more to the world than my parents' beliefs. She knew the world was more advanced than this. But that was what she was going to be moving back into, regardless of how things went at the college. And so she decided to take things into her own hands. She did her research, she had all the documents she needed, and she was 18 years old. And so she was basically a free person in the United States. So she wrote a letter, a note, and she left. She literally ran away and joined the circus. I'm not even shitting you. There was a circus in town where she happened to be staying with my second oldest brother, and she left without him knowing, and when she left with the circus. Of course, my father wasn't too pleased about this. He went to the United States, got in contact with the local authorities, hunted her down, practically. She made it difficult for him to find her, but they managed to find her. And when they did find her, there was, well, like I said, my sister had done her research. There was nothing my father could do to make her legally come back. She was 18 on her own, had all her documents with her. He tried to convince her to come home, but she wasn't having any of it. It wasn't happening. Eventually, she became an American citizen, and now she has her own family, she works, and she's even a third-degree black belt in Taekwondo. So yes, you could say she's doing rather well for herself. And as a brother, I could not be more proud. Now, being 5 or 6 years old at the time, I really didn't have a whole lot of memories of her. We did spend time together, quite a bit, actually. She has plenty of memories of doing things with me, but because of how young I was, and I wasn't learning at a regular rate as other kids. I don't know if that had any effect, but I wasn't attached to her. Honestly, I wasn't really attached. I didn't feel like I was that attached. I mean, I was attached to my mom. That was about it. I was sort of attached to my next oldest brother, but I may have missed him if it was him that was gone at the time. But my sister, I just didn't have enough memories for me to really miss her, and I feel bad admitting that. But that's just how it went, and I'm sure you can understand. My sister was willing to communicate with us though, and so we wrote letters to each other back and forth. My parents, that is, my parents and her wrote letters back and forth and talked on the phone. I wasn't allowed to really talk with her or communicate with her much because my parents were afraid that my sister would try and get me to leave Christianity and probably run away from home as well. My parents were so paranoid that they would read into whatever my sister wrote or said so much that they would come up with these ideas and rumours about my sister that wouldn't even be true, or would be like, it would be like this much falsehood and this much truth in it. And they would spread their assumptions to all the rest of the religious relatives like it was true. You know, things like she's worshipping the devil, she's doing drugs, she's got tattoos. She's got tattoos, it's true, but, you know, it's not a bad thing, but they thought it was, you know. She's doing this, she's doing that. It's so terrible. Our daughter's a terrible person for being herself and being true to who she is. It's so fucking terrible. Yeah, they were fucking paranoid about it. And they were worried that I would become like her if we talked too much. And that she would have some sort of magic. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. I really don't, but in specifics. I don't know what specifically they were afraid of happening, but, well, it didn't happen the way they thought it would, let's put it that way. But we didn't talk a whole lot. We didn't. I didn't really get to communicate with her consistently until I was a full-grown adult. And now we talk more than any of my other siblings. But now the hour is getting late and I must retire for the evening. So, thank you for sitting through another one of my videos. And I hope to see you next week. Until then, my friends.